welcome back to ARTFX Studios. Yesterday I've released my first sample pack on my website. It's called Snaredrum Collection Volume 1. It's a collection of almost 200 individually processed snare drums, and I thought that it might be interesting to do a little bit of a demonstration to show you how all the snare drums sound. So I've made two small little clips, and I've got two individual groups right here that I'm going to use to demonstrate how the drums sound. I've also made a small little drum track that I've got right here. It's using a really simple snare drum at the moment. The snare drum in this one comes from a Vengeance sample pack that's made for house music, and as you can hear, I've done nothing to the snare itself, it's just a plain sample. But as you can hear, they lack a little bit of power. So the thing with most samples out there is that all of these samples are really aimed at house music or pretty clean music in general. And when you're making louder electronic music, you'll find out that you'll have to process a lot of your drum sounds to make them work. Because of that, I have started to make this sample pack. I'm also going to do one about kick drums, but for now I'm going to show you a little bit how it's gonna sound. I've got two individual clips that I made. They're both just loops thrown together from a sample pack, so don't ask me anything about how I made these, because I haven't made them. I'm just using these loops to demonstrate the sounds of the drums. This is the first clip that I have. And the second one that I have is this one. And I'm going to demonstrate the sound of the drum loops now. So let's get started. I've got my drum track, and in there I've got a really simple drum loop at the moment and a really simple drum sample. Now, as you can hear, the snare is really weak compared to the rest of the drums, especially compared to the kick drum. So we need to find a snare that's much more powerful. And that's why I created this sample pack. This is a sample pack with almost 200 individually processed snare drums, and they all sound really punchy, really heavy, and therefore they're really useful for modern day music. Now, if you're making a little bit louder electronic music, like for instance glitch hop or dubstep or electro house, or maybe you're making old school hip hop kind of beats but you need some more powerful drums that will punch through your mix very easily, then this snare pack is definitely useful for you. So I've got all the snares right here. They're categorized in 4 folders. As you can see, I've got tight snares, fat snares, layered snares, and reverb snares. The two main categories are the tight and fat snares. Those are quite a lot. I've got 20 layered snares, and I've got 10 reverb snares with really long reverb tails. So if I play this clip now, you can hear that the snare drum becomes lost a little bit in the mix. So let's try out one of our tight snares. I'm gonna drag the first one into this particular drum rack, and let's listen to how the snare is going to change the actual feeling of the drums. So we can already hear that this one sounds a lot more heavy, a lot more snappy. It's really punchy, and it cuts through the mix pretty easily. So I've got another one. Really different sounding snare, but still a really good one. Again, a really different one. This one is more pitched up, but it sounds really good. This one is a little bit lower. This one, definitely an acoustic snare. little bit more short. Really high pitched, really short and snappy snare sample is this one. Really interesting snare drum. Let's try the next one. I must say I really like the way these snares sounds. And they all cut through the mix really easily, so that's definitely what I was trying to get out of them. And I mean, you can process these a little bit further if you need. You can add your own reverb if you need, and make them work. This one is pretty heavy. So you can hear these tight snares sound pretty damn good, and they all punch through the mix really easily. All of these samples have been recorded and processed at a 44.1 kHz sample rate and a 24-bit bit depth, so they're really high quality and they definitely sound really good in every mix that you're gonna use them in. That were the tight snares. As you can see, I've only showed a couple of ones. There's a lot more. There's 59 individually processed tight snares. Then we go to the fat snares folder, which has 109 fat snares. I'm gonna switch to the other clip that I created, which sounds like this. Let's try out the first fat snare. Let's try some other one. So you can hear that these also sound pretty damn punchy. And they sound pretty good. They have a pretty interesting sound to them. Some sound a little bit more like acoustic drums than others, because not every track needs the same kind of snare, right? So these sound a little bit more acoustic, but they're still really punchy. These ones sound a little bit more muffled, as you would hear them in a lot of dubstep tracks. Use a lot of these snares. Layer a clap on top of it and you have a really good snare. And as you can hear, some of them are really powerful. Also some high-pitched snare drums in there, which are really good. You can hear them a lot in glitch hop and neuro hop and neuro funk as well. I like the sound of it. This one really useful for dubstep, by the way. Nice long tail. Now, one more thing I would like to show you is I've also got the layered and reverb snares. And currently I've set this up in a way that I only have 15 milliseconds on the release of our snare. So the snare actually takes about as long as the note is in length. So when I make longer notes in the MIDI clip, I get longer snares. Some of these layered and reverb snares have a really long tail. And when I take that release time down and I create short notes, that tail will be cut off, so I can still use these ones in a normal drum loop. So let's have a listen to these. There we go. So you can hear they sound a little bit layered. I've layered them with Foley sounds and stuff like that, but they sound pretty heavy. You can get some interesting stuff with it. then finally, of course, the reverb snares. Now these are really long, and if I put one in here, you can see they are actually created at a really long time. These are reverbs. These reverb snares have been thrown through a reverb that simulates a church, sort of like a church kind of environment. So they get a really long tail, and you can actually use these. If you reverse one, for instance, you have a really nice rising kind of sound. So we have our MIDI clip that's been set up in the way that we are using really short notes in here. So I can actually use these reverb snares, throw them in here, and as you can hear, they simply work. You don't hear any of the reverb tail. So that's actually a way how you can create gated reverb on snares, a technique that's been used a lot during the 80s. Okay. All of these samples have been individually processed with a hardware compressor. I've also run them through a hardware tube saturator or tube amplifier, I guess. I've run them through some really short reverbs that have been set up in a way just to give the drum a little bit more ambience. The reverbs are so short that you don't hear them on the drum sound itself. They only add a little bit of ambience to the drum to make them sound a little bit more live and to give them a little bit more character, I guess. Other than that, I think that's it. There's a free demo pack available for this sample pack on my website. You can go to ARTFX-studios.com, click on products in the menu, and on there you can find this sample pack. On the page of the sample pack itself, you can click on files, and there you can find a link to the demo pack, and you can also find a link to buy this pack itself. You can check out with PayPal if you wanna buy something with PayPal. I need to be really clear about this. Make sure that you have enough funds in your PayPal account, where if you've set up PayPal in a way where PayPal transfers the amount of money from your bank account, then it will take about 3 to 6 days to process. You can only download the files after the payment has completed, so my website will only enable your downloads as soon as the payment has come in. So if you make sure that there's enough money in your PayPal account itself, it will immediately transfer the amount of money to my PayPal account, and therefore you will immediately get access to the downloads. If you have any questions regarding this, then please come to my forum or tweet your questions to @ARTFX Studios on Twitter. Other than that, yeah, I just hope you like this pack, even if you just want to have the demo sounds, because there's 10 demo snares in the pack that are all coming from this pack itself, and I think that even the demo snares are really great, and you could definitely use them in a production. All of these snares are royalty free, copyright free, so you can just use them whatever you want. And actually, if you have used them, please send me the track you've used them in. I'm really dying to just hear what you guys are gonna do with this. So yeah, that's it. I hope you have great use of the snare drums, and I'll see you back soon. Peace!